David Jolly, it is highly likely, though, that win or lose, Donald Trump will be in court as a criminal defendant for a long time to come. If you could just pull these two threads together, I thought that what President Obama did last night was chilling, it was haunting, and then there were two new examples of precisely what he was warning the country was at risk this morning when we woke up.
Oh, that's exactly right, Nicolle. What was left unsaid, perhaps, by President Obama, by Michelle Obama, by Hillary Clinton, as they hit Donald Trump where we know it hurts, which is his abandonment of law and order, his flaunting of the rules, his using the White House for his own pocketbook, as Dan said. What was left really unsaid in its own words was Donald Trump thrives within a culture of criminality. And we were reminded of that in today's two stories. And to Dan's point, I fully agree. The legal strategy to benefit the president politically on the tax returns is simply to get this past November. And we likely will. Even if the DA got it today, the likelihood it would be leaked and the information would be deciphered. This will be past the election. But that does not save the president from legal jeopardy. There is a baseline court case involved in this. As you mentioned in the Michael Cohen case, he is an unindicted co-conspirator. And it's just a reminder to the American people that he thrives within a culture of criminality. And the Bannon news has to rest on Trump's shoulders because of that. But Bannon is a grifter. He left Breitbart and associated with Trump when no other Politico of any fair repute would do so. When he left Trump, he slandered him as being traitorous and unpatriotic because of his Russia behavior. And then he decided to launch this platform to endorse populist candidates and hung his flag with Roy Moore, of all people. So the fact that eventually the game caught up with Steve Bannon is no surprise. The takeaway is that we still have in the White House a president who has empowered and enabled the likes of Bannon and Manafort and Cohen and others.
Let me put up the list of all of his indicted and charged and jailed advisors. It includes Rick Gates, who pleaded guilty, Paul Manafort, who was in jail until COVID freed him, George Papadopoulos, Mike Flynn, Michael Cohen, Roger Stone, and Steve Bannon. He is the only person who has to promise a defense fund and a pardon as part of a benefits package. I mean, everyone that goes in kind of comes with it, David Jolly, with a lack of any ethics, some of them a pattern of criminal conduct. But the rub here, and I think, again, the intersection to President Obama's warning is that Donald Trump brings that right into that office with no corners that's supposed to stand for something around the world. And I guess my question is, how do you turn that into an argument to make every day while people are losing their jobs, worried about their health, stressed about school? Yeah. How do you take that to the American people over the next 70 days?
And Nicolle, that is the real challenge here. Look, Donald Trump runs a team of grifters. It's a craft that he has perfected, and the people around him see an opportunity to continue. But I think even as we're watching the DNC this week, the Democrats are having to make a choice. Are you pressing that theory of the case, that Donald Trump is unfit to be president, or are you giving the policy platform that responds to the people who are hurting? Because for some people, it's not enough to say Trump caused these problems, let's get rid of him. In the past, we really have seen this platform of robust ideas from immigration to health care to taxes. And Democrats are certainly sprinkling that in, but it's competing with this message that Donald Trump is a threat. I'm curious what we see from Joe Biden tonight. Has Biden let the Obamas and Hillary and others press the case against Donald Trump and we hear policy from Biden? Or does Biden continue on the case that Donald Trump is a threat to today's democracy?
And Peter Baker, Dan Goldman mentioned a deal, and I hear deal, and I hear Donald Trump and all of his attacks on what he called flippers and rats. Never mind, he sits atop of federal government, which includes the Department of Justice, which usually calls those kinds of people cooperating witnesses to prosecute federal crimes. But what do you think Donald Trump really thinks? Usually when someone close to him is indicted, he starts saying really nice things about them so they don't do what Dan Goldman just said, a deal.
Yeah, really nice things about them, or maybe distancing himself from them. Who's that Steve Bannon?
Oh, right. I never knew him. Right.
And he basically did that today. He says, he worked for the campaign for a short amount of time, and I haven't had anything to do with him since he left. And we don't know that the president had anything to do with this particular scam, obviously. But, who knows what Steve Bannon might know and might try to, raise with prosecutors if that turns out to be a negotiating tactic. I don't really know. He has said things in the past to interviewers. Michael Wolff's book comes to mind, in which he has offered his theories about President Trump and Russia that don't always sound flattering. I don't know that he has any evidence that would be worthwhile to a prosecutor. No evidence that he knows something that he hasn't told us yet. But Dan Goldman would probably know better about that subject. And if you're the president, obviously, every time somebody gets indicted from your circle, you have to wonder, what meeting was he in? What would he have to tell them? What would he exposure would he bring?
Dan Goldman, let me give you the last word on this and ask you to pull back and tell me what your assessment is of the Southern District of New York. That office, as we've all said, held in the Michael Cohen sentencing memo that Donald Trump is an unindicted co-conspirator. That office had a dramatic departure of its head, Jeffrey Berman. A power struggle with Barr left Berman's deputy in charge of the office. I know we don't know what is ongoing, but what is your sense of the strength with which they're functioning today? Are they at full strength?
Oh, they're absolutely at full strength. You can take away the head of it, but the engine is still there and it's still pumping away. And there's an institutional experience and value and aggressiveness that remains no matter who is at the helm. The one big question that this begs is, was Jeffrey Berman fired because of this investigation? The explanation we've gotten from Bill Barr through the public, through the press rather, does not make sense. And we have not yet gotten an explanation that makes any sense as to why on a Friday night he needed to fire Jeffrey Berman 5 months before an election. But just real briefly, Nicolle, just to talk about what Steve Bannon could deliver.
Please.
Steve Bannon was in the campaign. He was very involved in communications based on the Mueller report, based on the Senate intelligence report with Roger Stone. He knew what was going on as it relates to WikiLeaks. Donald Trump lied to Mueller under oath when he said that he had no idea. Steve Bannon could be a witness that would be able to reveal that information, and an admissible witness, right? Like, we know it, but someone has to be able to testify to it, and Steve Bannon might be somebody who could do that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.